Hey everybody, it's Linda from Stamping School, working in the upcoming mini catalog from Stampin' Up. It's all holidays, July through December. It's a lot of holidays, but there's a lot of things in there that are not holidays, which we're going to do today because I am so not ready for the holidays yet. And Celebration, which is coming July 1st. So July and August, this little catalog is the freebies. When you spend $50, you get to choose something in here. There's a few things in here that are larger that are $100, but today, I'm going to show you one of the $50 freebies. I know a lot of people really hate to cut and score their own cards, and I love a card that has some pattern on it. Pool Party, Soft Sea Foam, and let me get up close so you can see. Can you see the pattern? Sort of like a little all-over leaf pattern and the soft colors. Blank on the inside, and so you get 10 Pool Party, 10 of the Soft Sea Foam, and then you get 20 envelopes, which have both colors on them. Little pretty foliage on the back. And this coordinates with the Splendid Day Suite, which is what I'm going to use today from the stamp set Splendid Thoughts. So they like to coordinate things. So if you're already interested in this kind of a look, then getting these free is a nice thing. So let's take a look at this suite, Splendid Thoughts. It's got some nice sentiments in here, sending hugs, let's celebrate, much love in your new life together. Today is a day to remember. So anniversaries, wedding, could be get well, could just be thinking of you, could be birthday. And then the dies. I mean, we have a lot of foliage, let's face it. Flowers are like their #1 seller. So what I'm gonna show you today with this card, maybe you can do with things that you already have. It's just a fun, easy layout. But the dies really are standalone dies, except for this die will cut out this image right here, and this one cuts out this. Plant people, you know what these are. Let me know. I don't know what they're called. And then they have these stamps that are just shadow stamps, like for art, and I wish they matched, but they don't. But they're basically, you just stamp this and stamp this behind it, and it's just supposed to be artsy. I like them to match up, so I don't know how I will use them, but in the catalog when you see it, they just sort of randomly stamped it like this, just kind of, it's outside the lines. So for me, I'm going to color in the lines because I'm not an outside the line person. And if you are, that's great. This is perfect for you. But the standalone dies are very pretty too. All these different sprigs, just like this. And then this little guy right here, you can use as a planter or as a sentiment, which is what I'm going to use it for today. Now also in the Splendid Day Suite, of course, there's some ribbon. This is that pretty Soft Sea Foam, and it's like a seam binding, very, very light organza feeling, a little bit of shine ribbon, 10 yards. And then a bunch of these, I think there's 20 of them. 20 of these open leaf trinkets that are metal, kind of like in a goldish copper tone. But the paper is pretty special. So if you already have a flower set that looks like this, then just get this paper because it just breathes a little new life into the flower stamps you already have. Very shiny. Sorry for the glare. Let me show you the patterns. Here's one, kind of in a copper or a rose gold almost. This is on the other side. I love the opposite side, but I just can't imagine cutting into it and wasting that foil. This is a really pretty Soft Sea Foam, and it's embossed. You can feel it. It has a white embossing on the top. Oh, it's so hard to see, isn't it? Right, that's the other side. Here's like a silver all over shiny print. And the other side, which is sort of like a Sahara sand. This one is a freesia foil. And again, they're all embossed with white and really pretty. Here's that freesia print on the back. This is more of a, you can kind of tell the difference. This one's copper, and this one's like a silver. Isn't that pretty? So they do these prints like this so that you can, if you want to, you can cut it right down the middle and then cut it in 4-inch panels. So you've got these great little embossed shiny panels. And the other sides, a little seafoam print and then a coral print. So paper's gorgeous. This one I did on the Pool Party, so I thought I should do the same thing on Seafoam. And because I used the colors in here, I think it will look nice together. You can just do white here, if you like that look, just kind of white on white. This one, I happen to just stamp gray on some seafoam, but you could also emboss white on blue on that Pool Party, or you could stamp the gray on a piece of Pool Party. We've got options. I kind of like this one in the end. Okay, this piece right here is 3.5 by 4.25, and it's on a piece of thick Whisper White. You know, you can print all the measurements. I have a PDF for you. It's right in the link below the video in the description. Bringing this one in. Now this is big, but we're going to overlap it in the middle. I'm going to go right up here in the soft sea foam and turn it this way so I can see what I'm doing, and overlap in the middle right there. Okay, looks like that. I'm using my soft sea foam blends. It's just a really pretty color. And little light brush strokes. And again, don't feel like you have to color everything in. You know, if you want it to kind of look like watercolor, it's okay to have some white spaces in. And I don't know how much of this will show, but I'm going to color it all in anyway. Kind of very light. You don't want to crush the tips, but little light brush strokes. And then we'll go in with the darker one and add a little bit of definition. Oops, went outside my line a little. We'll put a sequin on it and hide it. And just where these lines are, I'm just going to darken that in a little. Now I know you're probably not going to be able to see it, but with the bullet tip, I just like to add a few little dots along the leaves. It just sort of gives it a little bit of life sometimes without coloring in too much. And it's just barely there. And of course, I forgot to do my splattering, but you can also do a few dots outside of the white, like that. And I always forget the splatter before I start, every single time. I'm gonna take my Pool Party and get a little bit of ink in there, and a little wet paintbrush, or if you have one of these aqua painters, water painters, and just do a little flicking. Just add a little bit of light blue splatters. It's so very light, but it makes a difference. Now I've stamped this in Pool Party on white and then colored it in with my Pool Party blends, my alcohol markers. And I have that cut out with the die. This die I cut in the vellum. This one I cut out of that really pretty copper paper. So in this one I did the silver, and this one I did the copper. There's a lot of extra blank spaces to use on that paper, so I just used the die to cut out of a spot that I wasn't using. And then two pieces, they're about 1 inch by 3 inches, and that's what's going to go on the top and the bottom here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here, and it's just a little bit smaller. See that? Just to give a little bit of that shine. If you want to say paper, you can really get away with 3/4 of an inch, since you're going to cover some up. Sometimes if it gets too thin, you have a hard time. You have a hard time handling it. All right, this needs to be in the center. There we go. Ideally, a 1/2 inch showing looks really nice. All right, let's put this on the card, and then we can build the rest of it. I thought the copper might look nice with the green, and it does. You could also raise it up, but we're going to raise this up anyway, and there's a lot of texture on it. So just to start building, I'm going to put a little glue right here in the center. I'm going to do my vellum, a little piece of vellum, just kind of sticking up. And this piece looks nice if you have some dimensionals underneath it. Just maybe one there. Maybe right here. Okay. And this one. That's that real pretty foil that matches this. And we're going to put a dimensional there to hold it down right there. And now our sentiment. So I think I might like this green one over here. I think that looks pretty. And then this one, maybe I'll go back to the blue over here. Let's see. Let's try this one. I think I like that. So let's put dimensionals on each side of this one. And that looks good right about there. Now somebody wrote in and asked me, said, how do you know where to put your sequins when you scatter sequins. Actually, let me glue this one down. So I'm going to answer that question. I think that was from Tina. So Tina, I'm going to show you what I do. I'm going to take a glue dot and kind of stick it underneath this because it's driving me crazy. It's poking up too much. Ah, that's better. All right. So sequins, to me, really make it because you just get all that little extra bling on there, or even rhinestones or something. These are in the mini catalog coming up. They're called Fine Sparkle. And there's some pretty pool party here. So I want to take at least 2 of those to bring in that extra pool party. Maybe here. And another one. Let's do it over here. And sometimes I'll use them like right here to hold down that vellum. It works great. These sequins are actually more of a balmy blue, but once you get them out of the container, they can look a little bit pool party, and it kind of blends well. So I'm a perfectionist. I really don't like it. I will sit, if I put these on one at a time, I will agonize over where they go. So this is what I do. I take a pinch and I scatter. Now, I know that I don't really want that gold in there, so I'm going to get the gold out. And there's a rogue pink one in there. But the rest of them, you know, I'm going to look at it and see what I think and just leave it for a second. And from here, I can kind of move them around. I really like that clear one, and I like this little blue one right here. If you have just white and gold or silver, that probably would look great. So this blue is a little too strong. I'm going to pull that out. I really like these little guys, these little rhinestone guys. And that's all I really do. If I'm going to put a lot of them on, I'll drop them and then see how they look. And then I can move just a couple around or take them off. I end up taking them off, and then I kind of like where they fall. And then from there, I'll just scoot it out of the way, and I'll use my fine tip glue and add my glue and use my little picker up guy, pick it up and drop it on right where the glue is. So I leave them all here and then just scoot them out of the way and then put them back. And that's what I did here. They literally just dropped on, and I just let them fall wherever they wanted to. Otherwise, it almost looks like you tried too hard to put them in the perfect spots. So just sprinkle them and let them fall and get out the ones you don't like and then glue them down. So Tina, I hope that helps and you give it a try. Let me show you what we're doing on the inside. All these are going to fall off now because I didn't glue them on yet. Okay, so the inside of these cards are white. This is that solid stamp that I thought was going to go with this, but it really doesn't. So what we're going to do, instead of stamping over top of it, I'm going to use one of the die cuts here on top. It's like I have this one, which is kind of pretty. That kind of goes. I stamped this in the pool party. I have this one, and I have this pool party one. I thought maybe I could just try these, or this one and this one. It might be kind of cool. Oh, I like that. This one and this one right there. And then we're going to add this right here for the pot. So put some adhesive down here and stick these down. Just stick them right in there just so the ends stay in. I don't want to use dimensionals and make it too bulky inside the card. There it is, a cute little pot. And a little bee. Now be careful if you want to color with your alcohol markers inside the card, because the alcohol markers bleed through the paper on the back. So in this particular case, I used my regular water-based markers to just add a little color to the bee. Otherwise, you'll have to do a panel if you want to do a lot of coloring with these. So I'll leave this blank so I can just write something in there. And there it is. So I really like these cards. They're not super thick, but they're not thin either. They kind of feel like the basic Whisper White as far as the thickness of them. I think they're great. They're definitely sturdy enough to build on. And the envelopes are super high quality, very thick, very nice. And look, there's even a little imprint on the front too. So I think these are a great celebration freebie. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.